So you're a fleet operator or you're an owner operator and you're thinking about transitioning to an electric van and you're thinking about the Ford e-Transit. That's why you've clicked on this video. So we're going to have a look at some of the features. This is the second time I've had this on the channel. I had it on when it launched in Barcelona. So I'm going to do something slightly different today rather than going through every single feature and knob and button. So you can have a look at that video. I'll stick it up on the screen. Starting at the rear, and this is where the real business end of it is. Up at the top you have that reversing camera and that wide angle camera. And then you have the rear view camera lower down so you can actually see at eye level of a traditional rear view mirror. Some badging on the back with the e-Transit with that anodized blue. You've got that integrated step. On this door you have a button that turns on that load bay light up there as well, the LED. And then these spin around to about 180 degrees. On the other side, exact same. This good step. I'm 6'2", 188 centimeters, nearly the ability to stand up fully. This comes in 25 different variants between 3 different lengths, 2 different heights. You've got chassis cab, you've got crew cab, and then there's 2 different motored versions as well. So there's 2 different power electric motors. In the back, you've up to 15.1 cubic meters. Also in the back, if you go for the Pro Power system, you'll have an outlet here that'll give you 2.3 kilowatts so that you can power your power tools, some site lighting, you could power laptop and phone, etc, but it is an optional extra. Good non-slip floor, and then up and on the right hand side you have a really nice sliding door as well. Again, an option for have that electronic. So lots in the back. Weight that you can have is up to 1,738 kgs in the van version, and then in the chassis cab version that goes over 2,000 kg. So depending on what variation, depending on what length, size, shape, will dictate as to what you can get in the back. But practicality, they haven't compromised the internal side of that Transit that you know and love. It's the exact same in the e-Transit. So if you've got shelving in your current van or fleet of vans, they can be put straight into this. There's no difference between this, the shape of this, etc. Plenty of tie-up points. You've got some good lighting in here as well, front and rear, grab handles, etc. Let's have a look in the cab. Inside the Ford e-Transit, very Ford-like. There's not much difference in it. Now you do have the new Sync 4 12-inch touchscreen, so it's keyless start. So remote control central locking, but you can throw the key down here, and there's a button on the side of the column. And it kicks in, and then the screen kicks off. Steering wheel is really nice, lots of good buttons, and it is that leather coated. You have your stalks behind that. The steering wheel itself is reach and rake, if I remember correctly. Yes, up, down, in, out.
And so, you know, that's
very good. You got your lights cluster over my right knee. The amount of storage in this Ford e-Transit, it is phenomenal. You've got overhead, you've got in-dash, you've got on-door, you've got cup holders everywhere. Wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, as you could hear from the start. It's a rotary knob that comes out on the dash, but actually not too bad. Now, this is a large van. You've got some storage in underneath that seat as well. And that's where they currently have the charging cables. Comes with an 8-meter charging cable, 3-phase, and then you've got your holder with regards to documents, etc, and some more cup holders. There's an armrest for the driver. Driver seats are multi-way adjustable, lumbar support on the upper level trim, and also we have the digital rear view mirror that we chatted about outside on the middle of the doors at the back. Overall, a really nice experience. We'll talk about the drive now in a couple of minutes, but fit finish, it is Ford quality, decent glove box, 12 volt and USB Type A in the middle of the dash, and then you also have a 12 volt and a USB Type C on the top of the dash. Practicality is that, but the quality of goods is great as well. Before we take it out for a drive, there comes in 2 different trim levels here in Ireland, and I think in the United Kingdom. Side profile, it is the exact same as a regular Transit. There's no badging, there's nothing, so if you see one of these side on, you won't know that it's electric. With the trim levels, you'll get on the entry level trim, you'll get just steel caps, and then on the upper level trim, you'll get wheel covers. There are alloys available, large wing mirrors with built-in indicators, and these are retractable on the upper level trim with blind spot, and it has that blind spot mirror underneath. Moving down to the front then, you have your camera then you start to see that it's a bit more different with regards to that anodized Ford blue that they're using across their electrified range. On the upper level trim, you have your fog lights, you've got your LED headlights, and you've got your silver surround, but this is the real difference. And as well as that, you have your AC charging up to 11.4 kilowatts, so it's an overnight charge, and then your DC can go up to 115 kilowatts, so you can go from 15% to 80% on a powerful enough charger in about 30-35 minutes. Battery on the Ford e-Transit is a 68 kilowatt hour battery, no matter what electric motor or what power motor you get. But I think it looks great. I think this colour looks really nice. I was showing somebody in the office during the week and they were like, it's like Nardo Grey in the Audi range, but this is Moon Dust Silver, I believe they call it. Let's take it out for a drive. Huge thanks to my Patreon supporters, new Patreon Heinrich Leisner, Adrian Carey, Blake Boland from EV Life Ireland, Eve Daly and Mark. Lots of ways to support the channel. There's links in the description, but just comment, like and share. That'd be great. What's it like driving the Ford e-Transit? This isn't even the long one, and having to park nose in is challenging. And I put it up on social media there during the week that now the cameras are great, the high level camera, the reversing camera and the 360 on this trim is really good to get in and get out. Like, and what my point being, during the week I was talking about how charge point operators really need to start thinking about the different types of vehicles that are going to be charging at their charging spots, making the bays long enough. I know the newer, the likes of the Fastneds or the SSE electricity charging hubs are going to be thinking about drive-through. So you park in, charge, and then you pull out. There's no reversing. And so, yeah, good. So that is a new Delta dual head CCS, can give up to 70 kilowatt, I think, on each side, which is really nice. So let's talk about the Ford e-Transit. So the 25 different versions we talked about before, and you can have up to, with the crew cab, you can have up to 6 seats. So it can transport a team or a crew around, as well as having load on the back as well, depending on what kind of configuration you put up behind that then as well. That Sync 4 screen is a 12-inch touchscreen, really nice, has over-the-air updates, it has voice, it has also a digital manual, so you're not actually looking in the glove box, and if it's a company van, some of that manual sometimes goes walkies, but it's all internally within the actual screen itself. And a nice little feature it has is you can pair up to 2 mobiles on it as well, so a nice little feature. Driving along, the visibility is phenomenal. The windscreen, it's that typical van layout. You've got those massive wing mirrors with that blind spot. I like the little feature. It's got the speed sign recognition, so it knows what zone it's in, and if you go over it, it gives you just a little beep to say you've slightly gone over it. Not that it would ever happen when I'm driving. Another Ford thing that we're very much used to is that quick clear windscreen. So on those frosty mornings, those steamy mornings, you can actually, if you look close enough at the windscreen, you'll see that element in the actual windscreen as well. So these are all things that help tradespeople get out and about into the world and start making money and doing the job that they need to do. Is this van going to be for everybody? Potentially not, because it just might not have the range that you need. It might not be able to carry the load and the range. So in Ireland here, it's giving 315 maximum range, depending on the chassis, depending on what's in it. When I got in it, it was about 220, because this is the variation that I've got. And that was before load as well. So realistically, this is going to be good for the likes of delivery routes, be that logistics, be that food deliveries from supermarkets, or from delivering to supermarkets, like bread deliveries, etc. So it is a certain set of tradespeople that this is going to work for. If you are a tradesperson, you don't know where your next job is going to be, and it could be 100 kilometers away, this isn't going to work for you yet. I'm not going to try and convince you that it is. You know that yourself. It just doesn't suit everybody. Extending that range is one thing that's important to Ford, but also to the people who buy these vans. and things that they can do to make sure that the comfort of the driver and the crew in the cab is very important. So this has heated seats, which is great. It also has automatic climate control, so it's got multiple levels of heated seats, and it's all on the big touchscreen now. The touchscreen is a large part of that climate control. It doesn't have a heated steering wheel as well. The display is nice and visible, a bit analog with the needles still on the go. So you've got your what power is available, what battery level is available, but you can also, there is a readout as to the range of the battery that's left, what speed you're doing, and you can change. There's a little mini screen within that driver display. I found the steering wheel very easy to use. Nice round simple steering wheel, nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy, no crazy shapes. As I talked about when we were sitting inside, it is the amount of storage space in this 4D Transit is phenomenal. It is everywhere, and that's what you want, again, as if you are a tradesperson. Not being used to driving big vans, I found this no problem this week. I've gone to the airport. I wasn't able to park in the multi-story just with the height restrictions. So I was out in the long term, which is no problem. But again, I had to ring up and make sure that there was no barriers, height restricted barriers. So you have to be thinking of stuff like this. And if you're a van driver all your life, this isn't anything new to you. But these are things that I wouldn't be normally used to when test driving electric cars, etc. Another thing that is on the Sync 4 infotainment system is pre-departure. What you can do is let it know when it's so in the depot, or if you're charging this at home, you can let it know when you're planning on leaving what temperature you would like, or what would you like the cabin to be nicely toasty warm, and then it will know when to start preconditioning the actual cabin so that you're not having to heat it off the battery when you're out the road. It's going to be done off the main. So all of these things start to add up. The visibility, as I talked about, is great, but we also have that rear view camera. It's so nice. I don't think people realize there's a camera in the back of this, and so I can see straight into the car vehicle behind me. The clarity, scary sometimes. You can see exactly what's going on. So don't be picking your nose behind a Ford e-Transit. Range is always going to be asked, so we've talked about it. So it's saying 315, or if you're watching this in Imperial land, it's about saying 196. Real world, you're probably going to be getting between 120 and 150. So again, if that range works for you, this is going to be perfect. There is a higher cost to purchasing something like this, but with an electric vehicle, you need to look at that total cost of ownership. And what Ford are saying is, just in the maintenance, the repair, it's going to save, they reckon, up to 40% versus a traditional diesel engine. And then you've got the likes of running costs and charging it up on electricity. So knowing that you can get a certain rate and you're going to get X amount per kilowatt, these are all things that are going to help you with the bottom line. But initially at the top, it is going to be a bit more expensive. So you're talking here in Ireland, it is for the 68 kilowatt hour battery, which is the same across both, 135 electric motor, giving you 184 PS. That's has a price currently at time of filming of 63,741. And then for the more powerful one, and this one that I'm driving today, which is the long wheelbase, same actual electric motor, and this has the driver assistance pack as well. So 67,659. So it got to 70 grand between the jigs and the reels. You can hear that little beep. That's telling me that this is a 50 kilometer zone, and I went to 51, 52. So just need to slow it down. Somebody's up behind me in a nice big Audi, so I'm going to let them. It's an Audi driver that didn't let me out in my Citroen EC4 video, so I'm not going to say anything about Audi drivers. So prices are in around that. That's range, battery, charging, that's what we've talked about. Thinking about the likes of this, and I have a lot of friends over in the UK that are looking at low emission zones and zero emission zones, and they're crunching the numbers to say if we're in this part of whatever city it is, it's actually cheaper for us to pay that bit more upfront, and then we know we won't be paying those congestion charges, those emission charges. These are all the things you need to start considering. But this is a large van, can take a bit of weight, but range wouldn't be huge. It's not bad. It is getting better. But the reason, and we talk about this all the time, is because of the size of the vehicle and the weight of the vehicle with the batteries and then potentially a load. We have to be very conscious that people who drive them potentially are only driving them on a standard license, which originally would have given us a weight capacity, total weight capacity of 3.5 tons. But now with electric vehicles, I know here in Ireland anyway, it is allowing us to go up to 4.25 tons of overall weight, which is laden as well. So just have a little think about that. There is no one pedal driving with the Ford e-Transit. It is an L mode, and that stands for lift off regeneration. And that they talk about that. This is specifically for urban and for descent, if you're going down a descent, and that will recoup back into the battery. So around the town, start, stop driving, I like to press the little L button, and then you can feel that the rear axle, and that's where the motor is actually going to be. So this is rear wheel drive. You've got McPherson strut on the front, and in the rear you've got independent coil suspension. And so when I talked about this in Barcelona and the video, some people are coming back going, it's rear wheel drive. And then they were saying about the way that they've set up the actual suspension. So listen, it's interesting. Ford, listen, they're going to make a lot of these, and you can see that it's the same switchgear as some of their other Mustang Mach-E, etc. So there is that ability to buy in bulk, and across a lot of this, it's probably the same steering wheel in the combustion engine version as it is in the electrified Ford e-Transit version. Full electric. There is a hybrid as well that we have on Nevo.ie. I didn't realize there was such a thing. I don't think I've ever seen it in the wild. There are some shortcuts below that Sync 4 screen, and you've got the drive mode selection, and you can press that, and that would allow you to then decide normal, eco, or slippery. And then you've got that low lift off regeneration is what they're calling that L, that 2-stage regeneration. So eco mode is what we're in at the moment. Nice and simple. There's a 135 kilowatt electric motor version giving you 184 PS. The newton meters of torque is the same across both, 430 newton meters of torque. And then there's a 198 kilowatt motor giving you 269 PS. So you have a choice on the motors, but the newton meters are the same. It's just that the horsepower equivalent in electric world is increased, so depending on what you need. Hopefully you've enjoyed my second look at the Ford e-Transit. I've lived with it a week now. It was different in Barcelona, where I only had it for a couple of hours, and I've gone to the airport, I've gone to a bit of shopping, I've helped friends move stuff around, and the range has been fairly steady with regards to it's very intelligent, knowing its weight, knowing what the capacity is, so I've been very happy with that. Hopefully you've enjoyed my review. Let me know in the comments if you're thinking about going for this van, if you've gone for something else. There's plenty of competitors in the marketplace and a lot more brands bringing on a similar sized, fully electric vehicle. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you share it with somebody that's thinking about going electric. And remember, if you think an EV is for you, leave it to me and I'll review. Thank you very much for watching.